We're going to talk about love and intimacy. Now, let me look around. Okay, Tobias is asleep. That's good. All right. Look, I ain't got no filter. We about to go there, okay? Touch your neighbor. We haven't said touch your neighbor in 8 months, okay? Touch your neighbor and tell him, neighbor, hold on to your seat. He's about to talk about intimacy. All right, Song of Solomon 2:7 says like this. It reads like this. I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles of the does of the field, that you not stir up or awaken love before its time. In other words, let love develop naturally and do not force it. Father in heaven, the flower fades and the grass withers, but the word of the Lord shall stand. Father, we stand in this holy preaching moment, saying, be glorified. As always, we ask that you would loose every chain, lift every burden, bind every evil spirit, and destroy every single yoke. May the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart, be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. The people of God said together, amen. 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 This book, Song of Solomon, it celebrates the beauty and intimacy of love. It describes King Solomon's love for a Shulamite girl. This was a young country girl. The Bible actually takes the time to describe very vividly her appearance. The Bible says that her skin was a little bit more tan than others because she didn't have roles and responsibilities that would have allowed her to stay out of the sun. So her skin was sun-kissed, if you will. The Bible also says that, or gives way to the fact that if she was a worker, then this Shulamite girl was probably a little more toned than the rest of the people who have not done any work. So her skin was physically appealing to him. Her pheromones were quite active because she had been working. Hold on, I'm coming. She was a country girl. And they, over time, both expressed intense passion and deep longing for each other, but she decides to wait to let him take the initiative. She longed to meet him, but she vowed that she would not chase him. I don't know if you've ever been there. You're saying on one side of your brain, no, I ain't chasing him. No. Don't chase him. He can come over here and talk to me. He want to introduce himself. Don't go over there. The Bible actually chronicles her conversations. Just look straight ahead. Won't nobody know but me and you. To one day their courtship turns into intimate conversation. They both resolve to keep anything from spoiling their relationship. If you happy, be happy. Everybody ain't got to know it. Let me say that again. Let me rewind that. If you happy, you ain't got to post every single date. You ain't got to tell everybody, because there's somebody who's listening to your testimony and they're saying, well, if he makes you happy like that, they may be here with you today. If he makes you happy like that, I wonder how he can make me feel. She's so excited that she literally has a nightmare about losing him the night before the wedding. See, sometimes you've been waiting so long for love that you find a way to push it away for fear of losing it beyond your own control. Might I suggest that some of us here this morning, you have been in good relationship after good relationship, but for fear of losing it through no circumstances that are your fault or your own, you go ahead and you sabotage it yourself. You see, the king comes in disguise to her family's vineyard, and he understands that he's fragile. He understands that she's wrestling with this thing. So Solomon, he asks her something. He says, gather your scattered thoughts, deny your fears, and I want you to give yourself solely to me. So he comes in disguise to the family's vineyard. He disguises himself and he wins her heart and ultimately makes her his bride. And when he comes knocking at their bedroom chamber door, she was concerned about her condition, though there was nothing wrong with her whatsoever. She was so concerned that she failed to let him in. Though he was knocking and she's on the other side, though they're married and he's knocking at the bedroom chamber door to come in and consecrate the marriage. It's hers, it's legal, it's right, it's time. And she's too wrapped up in her physical appearance and whether or not her hair is on the right side and whether or not she smells the way that he would desire. And he knocks so long that she fails to open the door. So King Solomon, he put myrrh, the fragrant oil of myrrh, on the door handle to let her know that the king had been there. See, there was something about this Shulamite girl that was unique to him. Because at this time, in this culture, in this setting, homeboy had like 140 wives. But none of them got writing like this. See, this book settles a lot for a lot of people that are considering Christ. Because the question on a lot of our minds is, one, why did God make me with all of this drive that I have? And number two, why did he give me this kind of drive if he wasn't going to bless me with anyone to share it with? See, this book settles a question on how important intimacy is to God. There are 8 chapters in the Song of Solomon, and I decided to read every single one of them, though we're only dealing with one verse in preparation for this message. And I want you to know that it is extremely passionate. It is extremely descriptive. It is extremely powerful how they display the words in this book and their passion for one another. And if that's not enough, there are a couple of different names for this book where scholars sort of kind of argue about which one is the best. We have it as Song of Solomon. Another name is the Song of Songs. Now, every single one of us got at least one song that when we hear that song, oh man, it does something in our heart. You know what I'm saying? Aaron, how about Anniversary? How about that? Yeah. Oh, come on now. It's our what? Yeah. It's made for who? You and me. Yeah. All right. You're going to take somebody to another place. Take me to that place, Lord. Yeah, let's come back in the spirit. Okay. How about Always and Forever for those of you a little bit more seasoned, huh? Always and. Come on. Yeah. Let me hear y'all. Come on now. Yeah, come on, Vicky. You know it. Come on. Yes. Y'all sound good. Come on, that. Every. All right, y'all don't know the word. Stop it. All right, cool. Yes. All right, now listen, I ain't ashamed to say it, but I love country music. I do. You're going to get you some good vocals. You're going to get you a good story, okay? How about Shania Twain, Still the One? Did you see that one? Two, yeah, only one I want. Cool. Shania Twain, Still the One, yeah. Y'all give her in the hand. So this song is called the Song of Songs. So whether it's Babyface or whether it's Tank or he don't write love music, sorry. I'm married now, so hey, it is what it is. Whoever it is, Boyz II Men, everything that they write after this is the Song of Songs, okay? The word that they use for love, just in case you were wondering, it is not agape, which is unconditional love. It is not phileo, which is brotherly love. This is eros, which is where we get the term erotic from. So why is this important? People want a satisfying romantic relationship. CNN, Fox News, no matter who it is, no matter Barnum, no matter who the poll is, they want a satisfying romantic relationship as their number one goal over success and career. That people overwhelmingly say that if they had a choice of being in a mansion and being in love, they would choose being in love. Love is a protection that allows us shelter from the storms of life. You see, we have viewed romantic love the way it is celebrated by pop and hip hop culture, and that is the problem right there. You see, no matter what we do, we view it through the lens of pop and hip hop culture, where it says, no matter, I will date you, no matter how many drug overdoses you have, I will sit here and put my life on hold until you decide that you want to fight for your life. No matter how many affairs you have, I will stay there. No matter how many times you hit me, I will stay there. No matter what you put me through, you steal all my money, you burn our house down. Pop and hip-hop culture has portrayed love in a way that lowers our expectation of monogamy as though it's a misnomer. Pop and hip-hop culture has portrayed a good woman as one who would just take anything from a man no matter what. But that's not what the Bible says. You see, deep, abiding, faithful, selfless, and sacrificial love is not a fairy tale. If we're feeling unsure of our relationship, it's harder to trust our longings and to risk being vulnerable. Okay? So what happens is we put on a mask. And some of us, the worst thing you can do is you say, listen, I'm going to go there sexually with somebody just to satisfy their urge, but I don't want to feel anything for them. I'm just going to do it and get that monkey off my back, but I don't want to feel anything for anybody else. I don't want to let anybody in. I will never really have intimacy in that way. And what it does is when the Lord finally blesses you with someone, now you've got all of these issues because you have been doing something with your body and your mind that God never intended for you to do. See, this is very healthy because we were meant and made to love freely. You see, you and I not only need to know how to make love, but you need to know how to make love last. So there's something that I want to share with you called the fatality of familiarity. He says over and over again in this story, in these 8 chapters, he says, do not awaken love before it's time. So single, listen, if you're single, when we awaken love before it's time, it almost guarantees that you have written a death sentence for your relationship. Since the fatality of familiarity is when we become overly familiar with the person way too soon, then the respect level is lower, the reverence level is lower. And so now you're saying to yourself, he was with me and I thought he was a good guy. And he was saying, man, I thought she might have been wife material, but man, that was just the 3rd date. And so now both of you are disappointed and you wouldn't dare say it to one another, but the fatality of familiarity says that when you become overly familiar too soon, it's basically over. Now for all my married people, you're not off the hook. There's a waiting that you have to do even in marriage. It's taken me about 3 years to understand this, but I finally found it. You've got to wait, fellas. Your wife is more like an iron than she is a microwave. In other words, with an iron, you don't just plug it in and start moving back and forth. The iron has to gradually heat up. Hello, sisters. Hello now. Am I making sense? So sometimes, married brothers, we want intimacy at the drop of a dime, and we have not filled up her love tank. We have not given words of affirmation. We have not given acts of service. We have not gone out into the field and slayed the biggest bull and thrown it over our shoulder and brought it home. And I'm just kidding. But there's a waiting that has to happen. So Hebrews 12:1 says it like this: therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. Listen, you're not the only one. You're not the only one facing what you're facing. You're not the only one having a hard time. You're not the only one facing challenges. You are not the only one. The Bible says, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us. Watch this. And let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Listen, I want to look at this word endurance. Track is like the purest sport there is. I love it. Because if you look at the NBA playoffs, unfortunately, I feel some of you may agree that the refs play way too big a role in the games. Like, we didn't come to see you. You are not the main event, ref. If I was a ref, the last thing I would want to do is decide a game. Like, let the players handle it. When it's a foul, call a foul. When it's out of bounds, call out of bounds. But do not decide the game. Let the players handle it on the court. Well, in track and field, there is no worrying about judges. There is no where the person who gets to the finish line wins. The Bible says that we need to run this race with endurance, the race that is set before us. You see, the winner of the race is determined by who is most conditioned. I'm telling you right now, it's not about who's strongest. It's not about who's fastest a lot of times. The person who wins the race is the one who is most conditioned. Please hear me. If you don't get this, the rest of this message ain't going to make much sense. Success is won in a day. Instead of saying, this week I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to talk to this person this week, or I'm not going to look at this for this week, whatever goals you have. Instead of saying, this month I'm not going to do this, or this year I'm going to do this. Brothers and sisters, success is really won in a day. That putting one foot in front of the other, day by day, is success won. Because what happens is you say, I'm setting a goal for the week, and then it doesn't go the way that you intended, and then you say, man, I messed up this week. I might as well wait till next week. Or you set a goal for the month, and then if it doesn't work out, then you say, well, I might as well wait till next month. This whole month is shot. Well, it's May 3rd, May 4th. Like, you're going to throw away the whole month? Like, really? Or how better yet, it's January and you don't keep your New Year's resolution. You say, well, I might as well wait till next year. So you got 11 more months of debauchery? Really? Like, really? Like, really? The point I'm trying to make is success is won in a day. And how is it won? The winner of the race is determined by who is most conditioned. So with that being said, I want to share with you 3 ways to prevent awakening love before it's time. First, condition yourself to protect the eyes. Over and over again in Song of Solomon, the Bible does not hold back. It makes a lot of reference to the physical features of this woman, and she makes a lot of references to his physical stature. I want you to know that if you're into the physicality, if you want a woman that is voluptuous or curvy, or for those of you who are not African American, forgive me for using the term 1 second. For those of you who want a girl that's thick, amen. Find the nearest black person and find out why that isn't offensive, okay? There's nothing wrong with your desire. The Bible is very descriptive about her towering nose. I don't know if I want somebody to say your nose is like a tower, but the Bible talks about how round and how voluptuous her breasts were. Yes, you ought to read the Song of Songs sometime when you get a chance, okay? I don't recommend reading it together if you're single, but listen. Ladies, if you want a man with shoulders and a man that's tall or whatever it is you want, the Bible gives very descriptive terminology for this. But you have to condition yourself to protect the eyes, whether you are single or married, because what we see has the ability to affect us in ways that are powerful. Matthew 6:22 says it like this: the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? In other words, what I see, what I view can cause my entire body to be filled with darkness. Now, let me explain something to you. The Bible beat the enemy to the punch. So don't be saying all of this stuff, well, Christianity is boring and I'm into this and I'm into that and Christianity makes no room for that. Sorry, the Bible beat the enemy to the punch. But everything that Satan does is he perverts what God already has. That's what he does. He perverts everything that God already has, that God already created, because God created it and he stepped back and he said, what? It was good. So the point I'm trying to make to you is this. When you look at the enemy and how he perverts everything that God already has, when you view perversion and when you view darkness, what it does is it desensitizes you and it reprograms you in a way that will make you unable to have a healthy relationship. So watch this. Art Tatum was an amazing musician. And back in the day, when there was, before there was even TVs and stuff like that, Art Tatum was African American, and they used to play solos one beside each other. So just imagine someone is sitting beside Aaron right now. And so African Americans were not allowed to go to the theaters and go to the shows. So when he would get the record, he would hear a solo that's being played by four hands. But he didn't know it because he wasn't allowed inside and there was no video. So Art Tatum is a man that actually only has two hands, but he sounds like he has four. Because of what his eyes were limited to seeing did not hurt him, but actually made him stronger. Lean forward just a second and I'll let you go. What I'm saying to you is this: God has maybe, just maybe, he has ordained that your eyes don't see certain things. And it's actually not that you're missing out. It's actually not that you're not fulfilling something that you got to have. Maybe it will make you stronger and give you a name that is being reverberated throughout the music community even to this day. And it's as old as when people didn't even own TVs. The next thing we got to do is we got to condition ourselves to protect the ears. We've got to condition ourselves to protect the ears. The very fall of mankind started with crafty words. And so men, we are sight stimulated. That's who we are. And I want to say this. I just need to say this. I am walking in the mall with my wife sometimes, and somebody walks by, maybe they're thick, and I just look in the sky. I just look in the sky, and I depend on Amber to lead me to green pastures and still waters. And you know what? Every once in a while, she'll look at me and smile because she's like, this Negro, no, he better not look. That's Mary flirting. When you look in the sky, but I don't see that. It's not there. It's not there. I don't see it. But at the same time, single brothers, you're going to have to condition yourself to protect your eyes. The same way. It don't stop. There's certain things that you can't see because it shoots us to another level. Ladies, married ladies, I got something for you too. The complaints about intimacy and the frequency of sex in the marriage, you know good and well, you walk past him with a t-shirt, it's on. It's on. It's on. You ain't got to be talking about, I don't know what makes him tick. His eyes make him tick. Whatever he sees, it doesn't. He could be doing anything. He could be doing anything whatsoever. Just walk past him, get in his view, your husband's view, and it's over with. You got to condition yourself to protect the eyes. Songwriter said, I only have eyes for you. So words that are filled with craftiness are often empty of substance. Genesis 3, it says, now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, did God really say, you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Did God really say that you could only have one wife? Did God really say that you should not be confiding in other people other than the person you're married to? Did God really say that you had to wait until you get married to have sex and that is his design for marriage? The serpent said to her, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Now, I want to have my wife, come here, Amber. I want to use you. Give her a hand as she comes. Use her as an illustration. Amen. Isn't she lovely? Sorry. So now, this is my wife. We are married. Okay. Now, now these are old songs, but the new ones don't say anything like this. But how about the songs? How about brothers that say stuff like, "Listen, I want to give you the wind, the sun, the stars, the rain, all of that." Now, ladies, none of that stuff is his. He can't give you the sun, the moon, the stars, the wind, and the rain. That don't belong to him. Okay? Do y'all understand that? But do y'all see how rosy her cheeks are getting? Do y'all see her? Y'all see her? Do y'all see her? Do y'all see her? Okay? Thank y'all. Y'all give Amber a hand. I need you to get the visual there. Ladies, that stuff don't belong to him. I know it's nice to hear, but it'll never happen. So we have to condition ourselves to protect the ears. I'll never forget. Let me jump back to touch. Amber says that on our first date, I touched her on her thigh. That is not true. I was trying to get her attention, and I touched her upper knee. Okay? But she let me know, even to this day, she still talks about that. Like, you almost didn't get a second date touching my thigh. Ladies, put those boundaries there. So when he starts talking about giving you the sun, the moon, the wind, and the rain, you need to hold on. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something of actually substantive, because I need to protect my ears. Lastly, condition yourself to protect from touch. Condition yourself to protect from touch. Proverbs 6 says, can a man carry fire in his arms and his clothes not be burned? The answer to that is no, by the way. Can a man walk on hot coals and his feet not be burned? The answer to that also is no. You see, we've got to look for something that stimulates us more than just from our sense of touch. You see, as long as we look as the climax of intimacy being through the sense of touch and through how someone can make the skin feel, then we really lower our standards of what intimacy is meant to be. Some of you know a guy right now, you may have went to college with him. He dated a girl for 6 years. She was a great girl. She was smart. She was cute and everything that he said he wanted, and she was godly. And then they broke up, and then he was married 9 months later. Now, why did that happen? Maybe divorced already. Because there's something about fellas, some of us. You see, as long as she can satisfy the physical yearnings of intimacy, his brain is confused into thinking he's satisfied. And even though this woman only meets the 20% of what he needs, he has just thrown away the 80, and he had a loving, lasting relationship for 6 to 8 years. And then next thing you know, less than a year, he marries someone else because of the fatality of familiarity. You see, and everyone else knows him, and they're saying to him, what does she have? He's into various kinds of literature. The favorite thing that she reads is World Star Hip Hop. He's into serving the community and volunteering and bringing peace in the streets. And a fight broke out, and she stepped on 3 people on her way to record it with her phone. But yet they're standing at the altar because of what she has done physically. We need to define intimacy by breaking it up into 4 words. Into me, see. That's where intimacy happens. Into me, see. You see, true intimacy sees your deepest need and meets it with nothing in return. Oh, Preacher Brown, I'm doing the best I can. Let me press rewind, say it again. True intimacy sees your deepest need and meets it with nothing in return. You see, the deepest and most personal level of intimacy has no give and get component. I want you to know it is sacrificial, it is personal, and it expects nothing in return. So what does a narrative about human sexuality have to do with biblical theology? I'm glad you asked, because the question that we need to ask ourselves is the climax of a romantic experience with another person maxed out at what we feel? Are the senses the end zone? Is that what the goal is? Is the height of intimacy when you do things for somebody else, expecting them to do it back to you? Is the climax of intimacy when you do things just because you want to use the other person to get to an expected end? No, the climax of intimacy is when you serve a person in a deep, meaningful way, expecting nothing in return. See, the greatest sight into us, as we look at this phrase, into me see, is when Jesus died on the cross in our place. Talk about intimacy and not getting anything back for it. That Jesus stepped out of eternity into time. He clothed his divinity in our humanity, and he did for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. He reconciled us to a holy God. He didn't get all of the feels. He did not climax. It was sacrificial. It was beautiful. It was selfless. He saw our deepest need, and he met that deepest need, expecting nothing in return. As you stand to your feet, I want to pray for us this morning. You may be here today and you're saying, you know what? It's too late for me. Man, I've already wired and programmed myself a certain way. You have no idea how long it's been. You have no idea how long it's been. I'm already wired. I'm already programmed a certain way. I want you to know that it's not too late to start. You may be here and you're single and you're hoping for marriage, and you say, man, you don't know how long. I've been divorced. I've been divorced more than once, or I've been single so long. You have no idea how long it's been. It's too late. No, I want you to know that the Spirit of the living God is speaking to you today and saying it's not too late. It's not too late, that you can do this with God's help. You see, most of us know what it's like to get a good night's sleep. Most of us know what it's like to not get a good night's sleep. Man, sometimes I don't know what it is, and I'm always looking at the brands. I'm pulling the sheets back. Those doggone hotel beds. Man, whether it seems like the sheets are cooler, the pillows are softer. Like, what is it about hotel sleep? I mean, is anybody be a witness in here today? You got some good hotel sleep? And it's a shame for you to rest in a strange place better than you rest in your own house. God is saying that this earthly tabernacle that he's giving you, this is home for right now until the Lord cracks the sky. You don't need to look for rest in some other person's tabernacle more than you can rest in your own. I look at this, and sometimes, man, when I'm out of town and I'm traveling and you get up and you've had that good night's rest, man, you feel like you can just take on the world. You feel like you're ready for anything. And all I want to say to you is the Bible says, do not awaken love before it's time. Don't force it. Maybe some of the love we had would have lasted if it had slept until it was time to be awakened.